If you have ever dreamt of having a vegetable garden, but you're not sure if it would be worth it, this video is for you. I'm going to teach you how to save big money by growing your own food without breaking the bank. And I'll also talk about the non-financial cost-benefit analysis to help you determine if gardening is right for you. Whether or not a garden is financially beneficial to your family will largely be determined by what you grow and how you grow it. For example, planting a zucchini seed directly in the ground after the last frost will only cost you around 5 cents, which is just the cost of the seed. And zucchini is a very prolific producer. You will have more squash than you know what to do with. But planting one tomato from seed generally requires potting soil, a heat source, a light source, about 2 months of watering and transplanting to bigger pots whenever necessary, which requires a larger amount of potting soil each time. And the soil generally needs to be amended with extra calcium and potassium if you want the plant to grow well. You will also need to provide support for it when you transplant it into the garden in the spring, which means either building a trellis or buying a tomato cage. Then there is also the matter of pruning it as it grows, because if you don't, you'll end up with a big bushy green plant full of leaves, but have very few tomatoes on it. So you see, there is a vast difference between spending 5 cents and 5 seconds to throw a zucchini seed in the ground and having all of the extra work and the extra expense of buying heat mats, potting soil, pots, grow lights, support structures, etc., to grow something that is much more high maintenance. The other consideration when it comes to the cost savings of gardening is how much of this crop do you actually consume in a year? You can save a ton of money by growing your own fresh culinary herbs at home if you would otherwise be buying them at the grocery store. But if it's something you don't use, then growing it isn't going to save you any money. That's why it is very important to be intentional about what you grow, especially in your first few years of gardening. If you really want to see an impact in your grocery budget, grow what you eat and eat what you grow. Now, if gardening is a completely new thing for you, don't worry. I'm going to give you a list of plants that are easy to grow, that can be planted directly in the ground, and that do not require any support in the way of trellises or cages. Here are some of my favorites. Bush beans. Now, a lot of beans require supports or trellises, but there are varieties called bush bean varieties, and they come in many common types of beans such as black beans, red kidney beans, pinto beans, and green beans, just to name a few, and they do not require a trellis. They grow as a bush. So those are great starter ones, and they're very easy to take care of once you plant them. Summer squash is another one. Zucchini and yellow squash are very easy to grow. You just stick a seed in the ground and they explode with fruit. Self-supporting peas. There is one variety that I have grown that is called Easy Peasy, and I got that from burpee.com, which is burpee.com. And the Easy Peasy variety of peas do not require a trellis. They are self-supporting. You can also do corn, and either sweet corn or dent corn. They're both easy to grow, don't require much of anything. With the sweet corn, I will say that is the one thing that I buy as a hybrid. Most of the time, I only buy heirloom seeds because I like to save my seeds. But with the sweet corn, I do buy a hybrid for that variety just because it does so much better. It doesn't have any pest problems and it grows really well. So I can put the name of it up on the screen for you here because I can't think of it right now, but I'll put it on the screen. And that's my favorite sweet corn variety. You can also grow garlic very easily. Garlic is something that you plant in the fall so that you can harvest it in early summer. So you're gonna do that the previous fall before winter sets in. You're gonna get your garlic in the ground and just put some mulch over top of it and leave it alone. And then by early summer, it'll be ready to harvest. Winter squash is another great one, and I grow butternut squash and pumpkin. And although they can be grown without a trellis, if you're doing it without a trellis, you need to be aware that they can spread up to 30 feet or more horizontally. They do vine out very, very large area. So if you're growing it without a trellis, you want to make sure you have the space for it to vine out. But it is very doable to grow it on the ground without a trellis. Now, if you're short on space, you might want a trellis so that you can grow it vertically instead of horizontally. So lastly, there is more to consider than just the financial cost of gardening. Maybe you want to have access to a particular fruit or vegetable or herb that's not sold at your local grocery stores. Maybe you want to make sure that the produce you're consuming has not been treated with any chemicals. Maybe you just want an excuse to be outside in the fresh air and sunshine more often. Maybe you want to be more physically active, or maybe you're just looking for a productive way to fill your time. You're just looking for a new hobby. Whatever your reasons for wanting to start a garden may be, I believe that you will find some aspect of it, if not all of it, to be a humbling and rewarding experience. Being connected to nature and to the process of growing food will give you a whole new perspective and appreciation for the miracles all around us. Watching a seed go from this tiny little speck in your hand to a massive plant full of fruit that is full of thousands more seeds, with each one of those seeds having the potential to do the same thing, is an overwhelming thought, to say the least. It really does fill you with wonder of the greatness of the God who created this whole process, so that as long as we are good stewards of what He's given us, we will never run out of food. Gardening really does bring that whole miracle into perspective in a tangible way. So back to the original question, is gardening worth it? The short answer is yes. If you have more detailed questions about specific plants and how to grow them, please reach out in the comments, as I love talking about gardening with others. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and I will see you in my next video. God bless.